up, everyone? Welcome to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today we're doing another episode of Bachelor Talks, season 22 with Arie, and the episode in Peru with the fantasy suites. So we're almost to the end of this season, and I'm like kind of relieved. If you guys have been watching my other Bachelor Talk videos, you know that I don't think this has been the most exciting or interesting season. And if you want to catch up, I will have a playlist listed down below and the last episode up there. I also cover the winter games as well, in case if you're interested in that. I just feel like with most of these episodes, I'm like, wow, like how did 2 hours go by? Like I just feel like it's so unnecessary for these episodes to just be so long. Like, I mean, that's been the whole series, I feel, or like the whole season. They just kind of like been dragging it out and dragging it out and dragging it out. But anyways, they went to Peru for the fantasy suite, so we got to see Kendall's date first. So they got to go in dune buggies and they surfed the dunes and all this other fun stuff that's like an ideal date for the two of them. And Arie just says that Kendall is like the dune bug. She is scary and fun, and that's what their relationship is. And then a few minutes later it cuts to a clip of Kendall saying she worries that Arie is only with her because he thinks that she's interesting and that their relationship is fun, but he doesn't see anything past that. So unfortunately they kind of have the same idea in their head of where they stand with each other. And it's just, you know, unfortunately it's two very different meanings of what that is. And then again, I have to applaud Kendall because she's never been afraid to like speak up to her feelings. Like she's never been worried like, oh, I don't want to say something and then get sent home. She'd rather be straight with him and upfront with him about whatever it is that's going on inside her head. And I just love that quality about her. And she brings up the fact that, you know, their relationship isn't the strongest, and she's well aware that she's, you know, not in the same place that he is with Lauren and Becca, and how that is a concern for her because, you know, Kendall's not dumb. She probably figured like there is a fair chance of her going home unless it's something like significantly crazy happened with them in the fantasy suite or with one of the other girls. And then she just reiterates again that she really wants Arie to just be able to see past her quirks, which is, you know, rightfully so. That's like not a valid reason to be like the main reason why you're in a relationship with someone, because you think that they're quirky. But she was able to lay it out on the table that she is falling in love with Arie and kind of hoping that that's enough for where they're at. Now we're gonna move on to Lauren's date. So this has been kind of a theme the last couple of episodes, like the competition and like the pressure of it all is really starting to get to her. Like the one episode we saw her kind of like freaking out a little bit to the producers, and she even admitted to Arie, which I mean like good for her for bringing it up and like letting her walls down and actually talking to him about what's going on and like what's going on inside of her mind. She said that she like has questioned like if she would be able to do this process and if it would work for her, because of course she's struggling with the fact that her boyfriend has, you know, is dating other women, but at the same time it's kind of like you have to know that's what you're signing at the same time you have to know that's what you're signing yourself up for. But unless if we're in those experiences, I'm sure no one's ever prepared enough to unless if we're in that experience ourselves, I'm sure none of us can like be fully prepared or fully know how difficult it is to share a relationship with somebody. I mean, if you think about it, it would be pretty hard. I did think that their date was cool. I like seeing the different jail glyphs, so like that was really awesome to see. And then Arie just brings up the fact that he's struggling with her walls being up, and her fears of her saying like she can't do this because she can't handle him being in relationships with other women like really freaks him out. And it's like, you know, I can see Lauren's side of it because she said she's falling in love with him. She is in love with him, but she knows that he has really strong feelings for other women, and like that's very difficult. And then at the same time for him, her wanting to leave questions like, oh, is she taking this relationship seriously? But her saying, I'm struggling with you dating other people should be enough for him to know like she's taking it seriously. And it's just to like be empathetic towards how hard that is. But then Arie said a really good point. He said that he can't truly get to know Lauren if he's constantly reassuring her, which is basically what we've been seeing ever since their first one-on-one date. So I can totally see where he's coming from, and that really put things into perspective because he hadn't really said much other than like Lauren being great and fantastic, and like it was very obvious that he was attracted to her. But once he made those statements, it kind of like made you question a little bit, like, is his feelings for her as strong as like we all thought that they were? So basically their entire date was talking about her insecurities and trust issues and him reassuring her, but at the end of it he was able to say that he loves her. Moving on to Becca. Alright, so honestly this was the best part of the show because this is the relationship that like is so obvious and like makes the most sense. And you could just see like how in tune and connected Becca and Arie are, and it was actually really fun to watch their date together. And not that it wasn't fun to watch Kendall's date, you just knew that they weren't on that level of like that much seriousness to take the next step towards marriage. So it was more exciting to see his date with Becca because they're like perfect for each other, basically. And this is the first time on the season I think that they've ever brought up life outside of the show. And I feel like for me, like this is kind of like how you know like it's the real deal. Like the whole time I was thinking, I'm like, they should just end it now and like he should just pick her. And she's willing to move, so that's great. And Arie even said like a few minutes later that there was a big part of him that just wanted to propose to her in Peru and just like cut the show and leave it as is, but you know, he wanted to give himself some more time to think about things. And let me just say like a really quick side note about their fantasy suite. Like they were like out in the desert in the middle of nowhere. So my first thought was like, wow, like it's gonna be really cold at night. Like I hope they have a lot of heaters. And then I was just like, what if like something catches on fire? And then you just see how they're literally in the middle of nowhere, and it was just giving me murdery vibes. Like that was just an interesting suite, sleeping on sand. I'm sure there was a bed. I digress. So while everything seems to be sunshine and rainbows with Arie and Becca, Becca's ex comes onto the show. I was wrong. Like this whole time, like that they've been alluding that someone's ex comes, like I thought it was like gonna be Lauren's. But it was definitely Becca's ex-boyfriend. She was with him for 7 years and they broke up about a year before she was on the show. So for me, it's just kind of like what are you doing? Like you guys have been apart for a year, like you've had all that time. And then you hear she's on this TV show, so that it clicks in your brain like, oh no, I might actually lose her, so I guess I should do something. Like, to me, it's just he doesn't deserve her, because if he was really worried about losing her and really wanted to be with her, he probably should have made more of an effort during their time apart. Although we don't know, maybe he did make efforts while they were apart and she just wanted nothing to do with it. But on the show, they just alluded to the fact that he was mostly silent and was just completely out of the picture, and then just showed up randomly. And Becca had no idea what the hell he was doing. And I felt so bad for her because, I mean, I think she knows, like, she definitely has one of the most solid relationships with them, if not the most solid relationship. And this is just kind of like the little like hitch in their perfect fairy tale love story. So I felt really bad for her. And I just love that he just said like, oh, you're not excited to see me? Like, why would she be excited to see you? It's not like you guys just like broke up right before the show, or like she was still in love with you. Like, she's in love with this new person about to get engaged. Why would she be excited? I don't know. I digress, but she goes on to say, like, you want to live life like the movies, and this isn't, you know, The Notebook, so who knows? Maybe if we knew his side of the story, we would feel a different way, but him, I don't know, it just suspect to me that, of course, he just shows up out of the blue to stir some stuff up, so I'm sure it wasn't that difficult to track her down, and I'm sure the producers gave no problem for him to come on the show and have a chat. But basically Becca tells him to piss off, and the poor girl is worried about Arie and like what he's thinking about all of this. And Arie's in his head too, like, I just like how his main concern, by the way, do you guys love how I'm like pointing with a brush? I love how his main concern is like, oh, well, he's not going to be respectful if we get engaged. I don't know if I can get engaged, like if your ex-boyfriend's not going to leave us alone. Again, it's just, that's what the main issue that would make you break off a relationship, is that an ex-boyfriend might be annoying. I mean, yeah, he might pester maybe 1 or 2 times, but he'd eventually go away, and then that's not really fair to her. You know what I'm saying? So now it is time to talk about the rose ceremony, and I can finally give props to Arie because he does it right for once. Instead of making Kendall stand up there and him hand out the roses to Laura and Becca, he says, can we talk? And she knew what it was going to be, and I feel like we all at home knew what it was going to be, but of course, you never know. So Lauren and Becca were a little bit like, what the heck is going on? Why is this happening again? But luckily they had nothing to worry about. But I commend Arie for taking her aside, and he actually like gave her a reason why they weren't working out, and they were both basically on the same page, like we're just not there yet. But then in the limo when Kendall exits, she just, you know, has a thought that anyone would have, like, what if our time started sooner? Would this be different? Because I felt like she was really on the cusp of it, but she wasn't fully deeply into it as much as the other 2 girls. They definitely and unfortunately started their relationship too late. Even if they started earlier, I still don't think he would have picked her. I still think his bottom 2 would have, or his top 2 would have been Lauren and Becca, just because their personalities mesh so much. So that's my thoughts on this episode. What did you guys think? I'm not sure how we're gonna like sit through like 3 hours next week of Arie making a decision between the 2 women. I know that it's 3 hours like every season, but it's just like, oh, it's so dragged out. I hate it. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought, who you think the final winner is going to be. Of course, they allude to like some sort of like big drama. How many times did I say allude in this video? Can make it into a drinking game. But yeah, after Kendall's exit, and then also after Kendall's exit, we had a lot of Kendall for the next Bachelorette going around in the Twitter sphere. So let me know your thoughts if Kendall were to be the next Bachelorette down below. I think she would be good in the role, like I said in the last episode, but I could also see her doing well on Paradise. So yeah, that wraps it up for this episode of Bachelor Talks. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.